Let me ask you a question. Have you been feeling off lately? Well, before you quit, before you send the email, before you check out emotionally, I just want you to pay attention for a few minutes today. I can tell you this, and this is just being as honest as I can. I know what you're feeling. In fact, I felt a little off myself. I wanted a do-over. Wanted a do-over in life. Maybe you've been there before, where you just want a reset or a restart or just something new or something fresh. I think I really just wanted something or to be somewhere where it just didn't feel freaking hard all the time, where it just didn't feel heavy. Maybe y'all know what I'm talking about. See, for me, it's interesting. It seems like every single time I feel that way, I hear my dad's voice. And my dad says, son, regardless of life, time is gonna pass. And if I'm honest, I didn't really know what that meant. But the older I get, the more it begins to make sense to me. Time's gonna pass regardless. In a year, the time will have passed. 6 months, the time will have passed. In 30 days, the time will have passed. What you don't want to be in a place where the time is past, but you stayed the same. Yeah, staying the same. Before you quit on the relationship, quit on the job, quit on everything, and walk away, let me give you 3 things to do before you do that. There are seasons, y'all, when things just don't seem dramatic, where things just don't seem like they're going your way. But seasons they're just a part of life. I'm out here walking right now, and I'm recognizing that what was dead just a few weeks ago is slowly starting to perk back up. Instead of all the brown, I'm starting to see a lot of green now. Birds are chirping. Flowers are starting to bloom. Why? Because the seasons are changing. And see, and that's just like your work and your life and your relationships. They shift, they change. One moment you're up, the next moment you might be trying to figure out how to climb up. But just wait a few moments, because the season's gonna change for you. See, what I've realized sometimes is that quitting feels like a relief. Quitting feels like, man, if I just quit on this, it's gonna make everything that much better. Listen to me. Quitting does not make things better. So if you're feeling like me, maybe a little off, let me give you something that you need to think about. First of all, don't make permanent decisions in temporary emotions. You're going to feel off. And instead of making decisions sometimes when things aren't going your way, when things aren't feeling good, instead of making decisions then, maybe you want to pause for a few minutes. Maybe you want to slow down. Maybe you don't want to jump to conclusions. You might not want to send the email then, by the way, right? So sometimes when our emotions are ramped up and our emotions are high, that is not the time to make a decision, especially on decisions that are going to influence or impact your life, your livelihood, your relationships. Yeah, we got to get out of this place of emotions first. Look, y'all, when you're feeling off, that is your brain lying to you. And your brain is telling you that the thing that you're feeling is forever. It's not forever. It's temporary. Feelings are not permanent. So give yourself some space. Give yourself some time. Change your rhythm before you try to check out. We got to get in the habit to where we adjust before we abandon ship. I mean, think about this. You might not always be called to leave. Sometimes you might just be called to last. Another thing that we might want to consider is shrinking the timeline. Part of our problem is we're trying to do everything, and everything seems so big. I got to do all of these things. So sometimes maybe instead of thinking about all the stuff that we have to do, maybe we just shrink the timeline. See, everything feels overwhelming, but instead of trying to do everything, what's the one thing that you can do? I say this, find an LV. LV simply stands for a little victory. What's the one thing that you can do today to push you forward, to catapult you ahead, to get you one step closer to the goal? The one thing, not the many. So how do you win the week? Simple. You just stack one win on top of another, on top of another, and before you know it, instead of feeling like you're losing, you're winning. Progress compounds quietly. It's not always loud, but it's working, and it's working for your good. And since it's compounding quietly, you might not always feel it. Sometimes you're just out here and it just seems empty. There's nothing out here. But time gonna pass anyways. And we have to make sure that since time is passing, we gotta make sure that we're still swinging, we're still progressing, we're still giving it effort. This is important. We gotta make sure that we're reconnecting before you resign, before you quit, before you walk away. A big problem that I think many of us have is we disconnect. That's the problem. You're disconnecting from people, disconnecting from jobs, disconnecting from relationships, disconnecting from the things that are built and there to support you and to help you. When things get tough, we try to disconnect from those things. The crazy thing is this, the very thing you need might be the thing that you're disconnected from. See, every branch has to stay connected to the source, to the tree. When you cut yourself off from the tree, guess what happens? You might look good for a couple of days, but eventually, you're gonna die. Well, what do I mean by that? You're going to run out of the nutrients that the thing was producing for you. How does that look for us? It looks like frustration. It looks like feeling like we're ready to give up. It looks like being that person who's ready to quit. That's what it looks like. So you gotta reconnect before you resign. Honestly, start asking yourself questions like this. What have I disconnected from? What purpose have I disconnected from? What discipline have I connected from? What people have I disconnected from? Maybe you're not getting rest. Maybe you're not grounded like you used to be. At the end of the day, we gotta figure out what is that thing that you need to be connected to that you've disconnected from. See, I've learned, y'all, that most quitting isn't about being compatible. It's about disconnection. You're not tired of the dream. You're tired of drifting from it. So I need you to make sure that you reconnect before you resign. Have you ever seen that picture of that guy? He's digging, and it looks like there are diamonds on the other side. It looks like he's literally getting ready to break through. But you see the dude taking his axe, and he quits, and he's walking away from the promise, from the purpose, from the thing. Literally one more swing of the axe and he would have made it. But he quit right before he got to the promise. I really think some of us are like that. You might be like that. I know I've been in that place where we quit right before we're on the breakthrough and right before we're getting ready to make it. See, what you don't know is the very thing that you're looking for is right on the other side of this last swing, this last attempt. But we have to keep on going, because the truth of the matter is, if you give up, you're never going to get it. See, in that picture, I'm reminded that the diamonds were there. In fact, they're always there. The only difference in that picture, the only difference from him attaining the promise and him not attaining the promise, was his decision to quit. I don't need you to quit today. Your promise is right ahead. You're right there. You're on the verge. And you can acquire this thing, but you can't quit. So I want to remind you of what my father told me. The time is going to pass anyways. In another year, the time will have passed. The question is this: will you be on the other side of the wall in your promise, Or will you take your axe and walk away when you're on the verge? At the end of the day, y'all, I just want to see you win. Not fast, not flashy, not viral, but win. I need you to win in who you're becoming, because who you're becoming is amazing. So if you're feeling lonely lately, if you're feeling like quitting lately, listen, you're not alone. You're not the only one, but you can't quit. Time gonna pass anyways. And lastly, I'll say this. If you like this kind of content, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I'm trying my best to build a channel for people who refuse to quit and refuse to lose. And I believe that's you. Time is gonna pass anyways. But when that time passes, just make sure you're glad that you stayed.